So guys, welcome back to the channel. I remain your host Good Joseph. So in this video I'll be sharing with you how I was able to achieve this church flyer design in Photoshop. And if you're coming across the channel for the very first time, do well to smash the subscribe button and turn on the post notification to get post notification whenever I upload new content. And to my returning subscribers, thank you guys for always watching. But without further ado, let's dive into this. So I have to click on new file over here, and we'll have to wait for the new file prompt or the new document prompt to come up, and we'll have to set the unit of measurement in pixel. You can go ahead to give your project any name or title of your choice, but we'll be setting the width and height on 1080 by 1350 to be precise. Color mode can be set on RGB because this design will be used across social media platforms like Facebook among others. Okay, so resolution, I'll be setting mine on 300, but you can set yours on 72 or 100 depending on the spec of your PC. If your PC is of low spec, do well to scale it down to 72 or 100, but I'll be setting this on 300 because of my PC spec. Okay, so I have to click on create, and here we have the canvas. The first thing I would like to do is to bring in my resources. So guys, here are the resources I'll be using to create this design. Do well to check the video description. You find the link to all of these in the video description. Okay, so the first thing I have to do here is to create a solid color background. Okay, and I'll be picking this color to be precise. So I'll click on OK for this. Moving on, I would like to drag down this particular layer here, okay, and enable visibility. Okay, hit Ctrl T, scale it out like this into your canvas like this. Okay, and moving on, you can then bring down this image of worshippers. Okay, Ctrl T, transform it out, and make sure it is fitted into the canvas like this. And you can then go ahead to click on the check, hold Alt in between this texture layer that I downloaded from PNG Wix and this, hold Alt in between the two layers, and you notice your mouse pointer changes to an arrow pointing downward, so you can click on it to actually create a clipping mask. So I'll turn off this, select this first. I'd like to change the color for this, so I'll head over to adjustments and apply the hues and saturation. So over here on the hues and saturation, I'd like to change the color of this paper texture and also increasing the saturation level of this as well, and adding more of dark shade of colors. Okay, dark shade of light to this, and this looks like this. Okay, so the next thing I have to do is to enable this, and in order for we to have the feel of the blue, I have to change the blending mode of the image. So I head over to changing the blending mode to, let me see. Okay, this works perfectly well. So I have to select this, hold shift, select this to select all three layers, hit Ctrl G to group, and I can choose to call this worshippers. Okay, I can call this worshippers. Hit Ctrl T, take this to the top, and make sure it is positioned this way. Okay, so moving on, I would like to subtract this value of color from this side of my canvas. It will still be behind because I would like to create a feel of depth of field in this design. So, but I'll have to subtract this orange field from this side. I like to have more of white over here. So the next thing I have to do is select this. Okay, come over here and make a selection of this like this. Okay, you can make the selection this way like this. Okay, all you have to do is to hit select the marks, make sure your foreground is set on black, and hit Alt backspace to actually hide that. Okay, Ctrl D to deselect your selection. That is in terms of that. So moving on as well, I like to enable and add more depth to this worshipper image. So I'll go back to the group and select the image, head over to filter and apply a camera raw. So over here on the camera raw, I would like to enable the before and the after. I would like to start with the basics. Okay, over here on the basics, I would like to just increase textures and clarity a little bit, head down to details and add more sharpening and a little bit of noise reduction. You can see the before and the after, and you can click on OK, and you have your image looking like this fantastically well. Okay, so the next thing I have to do is to close the group. Moving on, I would like to bring in every other design elements in such as text, so I have to speed up the process in terms of doing that. So I've brought in all the whole text. I have to just speed up the whole process by making some adjustments and explaining how I came about this text, to be precise. So first thing first, I have to select this headline text, the worshipper's image. I hit Ctrl T and I would like to take it to around somewhere here like this. Okay, somewhere here like this basically works perfectly well for me. I can go ahead to select these two and crop out this other end of this. Hold Alt, make sure the layer is selected, make sure the foreground is set on black, hold Alt and backspace to basically delete that segment of this particular canvas. Okay, now I would like to explain how we come about the whole text here. Okay, this text here, I basically pick my text tool, left click and type in this text, Kingdom Lifestyle. Okay, so for this first line of text, I gave it white. For this other line of text, I gave it a value of what? Orange. Okay, you can see the color. And the name of the font I use here is called Junk Dog. That's the name of the font. Okay, please take note of that. For this, I made use of a font called, I think it was Poppins. Yeah, I made use of Poppins. Yeah, you can see it. Poppins Bold is the name of the font. Then I created contrast by using what? This value of what? Style, in terms of what? Italic version of that particular font. Now, you notice that this text has a stroke, an outline stroke. All I had to do was to double click on the layer and the layer style will actually come up. Head over to stroke and set the stroke size as follows: 8 outside. We'll set the color to this. Here's the hex code to the color. So I'll click on OK, and that was how we were able to achieve this. So I can turn off the stroke and I can turn it on at any point in time while designing this. Okay, now in order to add more depth to this particular design, I can choose to come over here where I have the headline. I'll select the whole of the group, to be precise. Okay, come over here, take out the present out of this group, select only the headline with the rider text. So I'll make a duplicate of that particular layer by hitting Ctrl J, right click and convert it to what? To a smart object. Okay, so the next thing I have to do is to hold Ctrl left click to make a quick selection of all the whole text around this end. Head over to select, head over to modify, head over to what? Expand. Then I'll set this to around 10 pixels and click on OK. Now you notice that the selection has extended outward from what? The original dimension of what? The selection. So I can come over here, click on this to turn it off. Then I can come over here to where I have what they call it, this particular layer here. Okay, I can come over here where I have the worshipper, to be precise. I can come over here, click on the worshipper aspect of this image. I'll click on clip marks this way, Ctrl I to invert the marks, and we have this looking this way. So let me undo it, Ctrl Z twice. We are done making the selection. Add the marks to this. Okay, it changes this way. Hit Ctrl I to invert the marks. You have your design looking like this. Okay, that is in terms of the headline text. So coming down to these other lines of text, I made use of the rectangle tool. I created the rectangle this way. Okay, giving it any value of color of my choice. I'll just come over here, double click, I'll just sample the color. Okay, and we have this design looking like this. Okay, that is in terms of that. Okay, so moving on as well, I had to apply the same technique. Okay, after creating the first shape, giving it the color, let me assume I gave it this. Okay, I click on OK. All I had to do next was to make a duplicate by hitting Ctrl J, Ctrl T, holding what they call it, Shift, and I'll have to just scale down this side this way like this. Click on OK, pick the move to select this particular layer here, and I head over to do what? Changing the color to this. Okay, that was how I was able to achieve that, and that was the similar technique I adopted while doing this as well. So for the text, I basically apply the same font I use here. I made use of Gotham for this, likewise for this the same Gotham, likewise here Gotham all throughout, likewise here Gotham. Okay, for this I made use of Poppins for this particular text as well. Okay, So that is in terms of that. I can go ahead to delete this. Okay, so for this rectangle holding the social media handle, all I had to do was to create a rectangle like this, and after giving it a color of my choice, okay, let me assume I give it this color. I click on OK. The next thing I did was to head over to filter, blur, and apply a motion blur. Click on convert to what? Object. So I set the angle on 0. You can scale up the size of the distance of the blur, and you have this looking like this. It all depends on what you have in mind, and you are good to go. Then you can go ahead to Ctrl T and position it wherever you want to position it, and you are good to go. That was how I was able to achieve this in terms of that. Okay, so finally as well, I went ahead to group them based on what segment, based on what they actually entails. Okay, so that I won't have a very busy or crowdy canvas. So that was how I was able to achieve that. So I have to take out any other thing that is not needed here. Okay, group all these layers together and keep your layer panel as neat as possible. So here is where you have the color palette. I'll take it out. Here is where you have the location icon. All I had to do was also to change the color of the icon. And how did I do that? Enable the icon, head over to hues and saturation, or you just press Ctrl U, and you can basically change the hue, okay, to any color of your choice, and we are good to go. If you are done, click on OK. That was how I was able to achieve the color for this as well. So what else again? The social media icons, all I had to do was to group them together and give them one color, and make sure that it is positioned well in this particular canvas. And what else? I added this in terms of adding textures. Hit Ctrl T, holding Alt and scaling this out like this. Change the blending mode for this to, let me see what works. Okay, let me just reduce the opacity and see how it looks on this. Okay, I think this is much nicer this way. Okay, so if you want to still take this design a step further, you can go ahead to your adjustment, apply color lookup, and see which color lookups works perfectly well on your project. You can switch between one color lookup to another and see how it appears on your design. Okay, please take note of that. You can play with one color lookup, you can play with as much as you want and see what basically works for you. So ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of this. If you do gain value from all I have shared with you, do well to leave a like on this and drop your thoughts and questions in the comment section. Please and please drop a like on this to basically support me. If you have any question, leave your questions in the comment section. If you're watching me for the very first time, do well to smash the subscribe button and turn on the post notification to get post notification whenever I upload new content. And to my returning subscribers, thank you guys for always watching. As usual, I'll see you in the next.